Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the co-feature at Churchill Downs on Friday. Race number 9, mile and a 16th on the turf. It's the Grade 2 Mrs. Revere Stakes for 3-year-old fillies. Before we get to the analysis, remember, Black Friday is on Friday. We have a whole week of sales for DRF customers. Shop.drf.com is where you need to go to save big on DRF's hottest handicapping tools. Here's the field for the Grade 2 Mrs. Revere Stakes. Trainer Chad Brown has 2 in here. The number 2, Nay Lady Nay, the number 12, New and Improved. Both of these horses have been fairly visually impressive in their races. The Macam Bullet, the 14, has form against graded stakes competition. Timeform US Pace Projector, very interesting to me because this is a lousy post position for the 14, the Macam Bullet. But if she could somehow get this trip, it mitigates the post. She does have enough speed. Perhaps she can get up close to the pace without losing too much ground with that short run going into the first turn.
Yeah, I guess the real question would just be, how much do they have to use her from post 14 if they're going to try and clear the field? Because it's not like she's just going to be able to waltz to the front, but if she can somehow make it up there and not have to go too fast, it gives her a real big chance in this race.
And one of the reasons I feel she probably is going to have to work to get the lead is the horse down on the rail. And I know Julia's Ready's a reach as a win candidate in this spot at 50-1. She had the lead last time out at Churchill Downs in an allowance race. She couldn't get it done at a distance that might have been a little bit too far for her. She's been stuck in the non-winners of one other than condition for a long time. It's a big ask for her to win a race like the Mrs. Revere, but she could affect the pace scenario.
Yeah, maybe she has a say in the outcome just because they try and use her speed, but it's almost impossible to make her win this race. This is a good field she's facing.
The number 2, Nay Lady Nay, cross-entered at Aqueduct. It appears she's going to run in the Mrs. Revere, and that's a pretty confident placement for Chad Brown. I thought she was visually very impressive winning the Parks Fillies Oaks last time out. We're going to watch that race right now. She got sideswiped at the start of this race. She still has some work to do. She's in the blue cap, and she wins this race, Mike, pretty much in ridden-out fashion. She also made a big wide move on the turn. 3 horses came out of this race to win their next outings.
Yeah, she looked really good winning this race. I thought she looked really good winning her maiden also in her second career start. And in between that at Belmont Park, they just went a really slow pace in front of her. And she actually ran really well in that allowance race 2 back, but the pace just never came back to her.
The 3, Proud Emma, former maiden claimer, has run in a couple of graded stakes races, a few 4th place finishes. This is going to be a turf debut in her 3rd start of the form cycle. I'm not sure about this pedigree. They're taking a shot with her. I just think it's a tough spot to win first turf.
Yeah, me too. I actually like some of her dirt races. I think she's a pretty interesting horse overall. I just didn't see anything that made me want to bet her on turf.
The number 4 is Dalika coming out of the Grade 3 Valley View, and she had a lousy post position that day. Miguel Mena had to use her hard in the first quarter of a mile to get position. To her credit, she was still punching along with about 3/16 of a mile to go before getting tired and hopping back to her left lead. A mile and an eighth to me is a little bit of a question mark for this filly, but she's another one that can get up close. It really depends on the tactics Luis Saez wants to utilize because she's fairly versatile.
Yeah, I agree with that. We'll see what kind of trip she can get, and maybe it'll make a difference for her. I agree with your take on her Valley View, but they really used her early. She actually ran pretty well, all things considered, in there. It was a little surprising to me, too, because I didn't really love any of her races leading into that race. So, listen, maybe I was just wrong about her. Maybe she really is a contender in this race. I kind of want to see it again from her, Dan, but I'm not as against her as I was before.
Winning Envelope, the number 5, came from way out of it to win her most recent start at Keeneland. We're going to take a look at that race right now. She was bet down to 5-2. Off of several stakes tries, they dropped her in for this allowance race, Mike, and she rallied strongly to win it.
Yeah, you're going to see, right now she's down pinned on the rail. Look at it. She can't get anywhere to run here. We're past the 8th pole, just totally blocked. But now she's going to get clear, and she's going to come flying to the finish. This is a really nice performance from this filly, who's run several good races in the past. And her race 2 back, I thought she had a big excuse with a terrible start at Indiana Grand. I think she's a contender in this race, and she might be an okay price.
I think she's going to be an okay price, 15-1 on the morning line, and stepping up in class off that win. If folks didn't see that replay, they may be fooled. She is much better than just an 84 allowance horse. She has run good races in the past on the turf against stakes horses. The question is, will she get the right setup? She needs a trip because she doesn't have a lot of early speed. Winter Sunset is the 6, beautifully bred daughter of Tappet, got the stakes win 2 starts back at Indiana Grand. I don't know, I really just didn't see the excuse in the Valley View. Maybe she doesn't like given the turf. Kind of her 2 subpar races right now have been on off-turf courses. She has the tactical speed and the ability to win a race like this. I think she's going to get bet off this 10-1 morning line.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of price she is. If she was 10-1, I have no knocks on this horse. She's perfectly fine, and I think the 1.125 is a good distance for her. I don't love her, however, and I agree with you. I thought that she could take more money. That if she gets bet, I don't want her. But if she's around 10-1, I'm not going to argue with her.
I think Hard Legacy could take a step forward for trainer Norm Cassie. She won the Grade 3 Regret at Churchill Downs 3 starts back. Now, she got a brilliant ride and trip under Julien Leparoux. There was no pace in the race. She got right up close and right on the front, and she was able to hold off Winter Sunset. They ran her in the Delmar Oaks. She ran okay from the back of the pack. The Valley View was off of a layoff from a tough post position. She's better, I think, than those last 2 races. The question is, was the Regret simply a situation where she's a bit dressed up because of the pace scenario of that race?
The ride and trip she got in the Regret certainly helped her, that's for sure. But she still ran well in there, and she had some excuses leading into that race too. So I think it's hard to say, how much better or worse she is than that 85 in the Regret. I think the thing I like about her in this race is I think she'll just get a better trip than she's gotten in her last 2 races.
2.5-month layoff for the 8 She's on the Warpath, who had a 3-race win streak snapped last time out by Winter Sunset in the Indiana Grand Stakes. She ran fine in the Indiana Grand. She sort of ran her usual race. She's going to have to do better.
Yeah, I thought the same thing about it. I didn't think she embarrassed herself last time, to be sure, but she didn't have an excuse in there either. And the 3 horses that finished ahead of her are all back in this race.
Passion of the Nile seemed to get better when they switched her to the dirt. She's getting back to the turf here. She's won 2 out of her last 3 races, and it was nice to see her stretch out to a mile last time, a 1-turn mile, but I thought she's had a nice trip on the dirt that day. I think she's more of a dirt horse, so at least is what the form says right now.
Yeah, I think she is too. Maybe they're just hoping this race comes off and they've landed in a good spot with her, because on her 3 dirt races, she doesn't look like a contender in here.
Amandrea ran into a really nice one in Varenka 2 starts back in the Lake Placid, but you watch that race, she was right off close to an extremely slow pace, and she couldn't get by the other pace setter Blowout. It was a fine effort. She came back in Indiana Grand. She had the lead late. Winter Sunset ran her down. It's kind of been a story of close but no cigar ever since she won that 50,000 starter at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't see her excuse last time to Indiana Grand either. She ran fine in there, but Winter Sunset was better, and even Winning Envelope was better after a terrible start in that race.
Delta's Kingdom is the number 11. This horse scored last time out at Churchill Downs for trainer Bill Mott, coming from way off of the pace. Is she stakes class? I think it's too early to tell. She's had her chances against the graded stakes horses, the stakes horses. I think she's probably just now reaching her peak maturity. She's going to have to do this, though, Mike, off a 2-month layoff, and I think that's no small ask.
And she's going to have to do it probably from well off the pace as well. I just wonder what kind of trip she's going to get in here, Dan, because it feels like she's going to need to run her best race, and then she's going to need maybe a little help as well. And I just don't know if she can get the right trip in this race.
Another horse that might have to come from off the pace is the 12, New and Improved. And I don't think it's because of her running style. I think it's because she still has yet to figure out the starting gate from only 3 starts. Let's go back to her win in the Grade 2 Sands Point. And Mike, she's done really nothing wrong. She's got Chad Brown. She's probably the horse to beat.
Yeah, she probably is. This is a really good performance. This is just her 3rd career start. You could see how far back she was at the top of the stretch. And she just rolls down the outside and goes right by this field. This is a really nice performance. She's run really well in all 3 of her starts, Dan, and she's all upside from here.
Are we willing to give up on Wildlife Mike the 13? We've been chasing her for a while now, ever since that nice win at Ellis, the Delmar Oaks. She was just far back from a tough post. I don't think she really ran as bad as it looks on paper to be beaten 5 lengths by the good Cambier Park. She ran okay in the Dueling Grounds Oaks. She just can't get out of the gate. And maybe that's the reason Vicky Oliver's putting blinkers on. And listen, if she gets out of the gate better, she does have a kick. I want to use this filly one more chance at a big price somewhere.
Yeah, I'm definitely using her. I didn't put her on top this time, but I'm definitely using her again. And I still think she has a lot of potential. And since the win at Ellis back in July, she has not run poorly against better horses.
The Mackin Bullet won the Appalachian at Keeneland during the spring meet, going a mile. Got a really nice trip and ride that day by Tyler Gaffalione, who gave her another nice ride in the Valley View last time out. Let's watch that race right now. The Mackin Bullet's in between horses in the orange cap. She's going to get the split. She's going to end up down towards the inside late. She stays on, beaten 3/4 of a length by a couple of decent ones in Lady Prancelot and Blowout. She fits this race very well from a class and speed figure perspective. It's really all about the trip she can get from post 14. If you believe the Timeform US pace projector and think she can get forward without losing ground, then all of a sudden she becomes a strong contender.
Yeah, I think she's a strong contender either way. I don't know if that pace projector is absolutely right and that they're going to be sending for the lead in here, but if she gets any kind of a trip, she's just supposed to be tough in here. I thought she actually ran really well in the Valley View.
Pick time for the Grade 2 Mrs. Revere. I thought she ran really well last time as well. I'm going to go with the Mackin Bullet on top. Chad's got a very strong hand with both Nay Lady Nay and New and Improved. New and Improved has at least done it against better horses, and just the way she fired home last time out, you give her a little bit of pace, you know she's going to come running. We both have our picks sort of skewed towards the outside. I went 14, 13, 12, 4. You're going 12, 5, 13, 14. New and Improved's going to take some money. What price do you need before you bet her to win?
Yeah, I sort of chalked it out by putting her on top. I had a tough time going strongly against her because she has been really good in her races. The price horse for me that I want to use is Winning Envelope, the 5 for Chris Buck. I'm just hoping she gets a trip. I think she's better than she looks on paper.
Listen, she may not need a trip. She didn't get one last time out, and she still rolled past them late. She is a very interesting long shot, along with our favorite, the 13 Wildlife. She'll be double digits in the wagering as well. Nice race, the Grade 2 Mrs. Revere. It's at Churchill Downs on Friday, approximate post 4:57 Eastern. Good luck.